That's the voice of David Weber, a mental health therapist that's with us today. Got his master's degree at Northwestern University. He ain't just talking out the side of his neck. This man done studied and researched it and been through it himself. If you follow him on David Weber _ is it LPC?
LPC. Yeah.
David Weber _ LPC, as much as he has people open up to them to give them directions or guidance or moments of his expertise, information from his expertise, he also opens up to his audience to show you that a therapist is human too. They may have all the answers, they may be well studied, but that doesn't mean they're not going to go through depression, self-doubt, confusion, chaos, the same things, a lot of things we experience as non-therapists every single day. You know, I think personally in my role, because of the roles I've played over the years, has always been a front person on the mic, you know, whether it's radio or TV or any type of news correspondence. When I'm off the mic, people see me as a front person. So there's a lot of expectations that come with that when people come to me. And I don't know if it's ever the consideration that that guy is human too. And I think a lot of times people like me, we tuck that under and go, I can handle it. I'm built for it. I'm strong enough to do it. I've said that for years, for decades, because I am. I always felt like, come on, bring more family, with family member, with friend, I can deal with it up until COVID. And then when COVID happened and we started experiencing a lot of losses during that COVID time, it opened me up. It peeled a layer down that no longer exists. So it's hard for me to hold back tears if that's the emotion that it calls for, right? But sometimes I still sit in confusion because a lot of people come to me for a lot, which I'm trying to answer and show up for every single time. But a lot of times I don't have anything left for me, right? And then you feel guilty if you're not, if you're not there for those who come to you. You feel away. I feel this obligation. I can't even sleep well if I can't solve the next person's problems. I couldn't sleep well for years. I tell them all the time, I woke up at this time. I woke because I'm thinking about other people's problems until it start becoming a detriment to me. And I had to find a way to cope. And so that's why I got in the gym back in October, right? And that's been helpful for me right now. A lot of men, we don't come to that conclusion. We just keep going, and we just keep taking on that energy. And we got these ideas that this is our role in society. You got to be able to take it all. You got to take your daughter, your sons, your cousins, your mom, your uncles, whoever issues. It's up to, if you at the nucleus of your family, you got to hold it on. You got to take it all. Do you experience that a lot in your practice?
So men suffer in silence. That's what they do. Okay. They keep it inside, and they deal with it alone. And they also, if they can't deal with it in the way they want to deal with it, they'll blame themselves, or they'll see themselves as weak. They'll see themselves as not strong enough. But the reality is, you're a human being, and so the things that you're going through as a human being are deserving just as much as anyone else of help and support and those types of things. And so when you give, and then eventually you're just pouring from an empty cup. And so how can I help you when I'm empty? And so especially for someone like you, or many of you who have been successful and you've made money and those types of things, people just think that you have a bunch to give. And so I can help you financially. Maybe, but at some point, all those things become a burden. And so the best way to love people is with boundaries. That's the best way to love people.
Oh, wow. The best way to love people is with boundaries.
That's right.
Because I won't have resentment.
Whoa, we all the men in the room shaking their head like the Muppets. Yeah, man, boundaries.
Me and Tracy like, y'all ain't know that? No.
Wow.
Catch up.
I won't have resentment towards you if I have boundaries around the relationship. So no, for me, I don't lend money to friends. I love you, but I don't want to have resentment towards you when you don't pay me back, because you're not going to pay me back.
Yeah.
So when you don't pay me back, then now we have an issue, and now I hold resentment, and I don't want to hold resentment towards you. So I love you, but no, right?
Yeah.
I love you, and I can talk to you on the phone. I can come visit you. I can sit in your living room. We can do a bunch of other things other than money, right? So people have a difficult time saying no because we don't want the person to think we selfish and those types of things. But if you want me to love you the best way, then let me set these boundaries. I set the boundaries around what time I answer my phone, what time I text you back. Like if I'm busy, I'm busy. I'll call you back. But I'm not going to rush, to answer my phone because you may think I got time that I don't have and I'm upset or I feel a way that, you may be upset with me. So my point is loving people. The best way to love them is with boundaries. And that's difficult for many people. It's difficult for most people.
It's difficult for me. David Weber _LPC is here. Give that man a round of applause for that second gym today. All right. I'm going to let Dante Hall, former Kansas City Chief player. Yeah, your mic. And then he does a lot. He does correspondent work. He's an amazing human being, regardless of who he played for. But he wanted to ask you a question. Just saying, man.
Steady throwing the shade. But I wanted to stick around and ask you this because I'm not for or against therapy, but I've always had this feeling, and I wanted to get your response. How do you feel about people that feel like, why would I go speak with a person that knows I don't know, he doesn't know me, and I'm going to go spill everything, all my emotions, my issues, my problems, give that to a person. How can he help me with a lifetime of issues and a couple of sessions?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that speaks to the larger issues, particularly in the Black community. We're in Black History Month right now, so that speaks to that larger issue. I'm going to tell this person who don't know me a bunch of stuff about me, and you could potentially tell someone else my business? Absolutely not, right? But I want to slow this down because that's very, very important. You do it because if you don't do it, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect your soul. It's going to affect your body. It's going to affect your mind. There's actually a book called The Body Keeps the Score, if you haven't read it, that all those things we hold inside ourselves is going to play out in your physical. It's just a matter of time, and you may not even notice it. And so when you looking for a therapist, first off, finding a therapist in general is difficult, right? It's hard to find a person that you feel like you can trust. Right? That's difficult. But we're held by ethical boundaries, right? I'm not allowed to talk to anybody about what you tell me. Nobody, not my family, not my woman, not nobody. So I have to keep that stuff to myself. And if you end up talking to somebody and they end up telling information to someone else, they shouldn't be in our industry. And right, so we have to get those people out of our industry. But going and talking to somebody, man, if you don't, it's going to affect you for the rest of your life.
Let me elaborate, because I don't think the issue is more trust. It's more, how can you help me, right? How can you help a person that you really don't know? They come in, they tell you all these issues, but you don't really know the foundation. You know the top layer of the issues. How can a therapist help?
That's why we build rapport. That's why you come in.
So it's not a one-time thing.
No. You have to. No.
It's a
lifestyle.
It is.
No, it is.
It is.
Yeah. So you have to come in, and one of the things I say is, being honest is the best way for me to help you, and it's going to take some time. You're not going to feel comfortable coming in and talking to me, and I just met you 5 minutes ago. Right? But hopefully 3 months from now, you start, you know what, Dave is cool, man. He seemed like he's a pretty cool cat. I trust him enough to tell him this part and then to tell him that part. And before you know it, 6 months later, 8 months later, you telling me everything, right? And now you crying. Hopefully you're getting emotional and you're feeling the emotions, because men don't like to feel emotions. So hopefully you get to the point where you're feeling the emotions, expressing those emotions. And occasionally my clients, they have me crying sometimes, to be honest with you, when they're telling me stuff. And I start crying too. So that's a great question, though. You're not going to know. You just open up. You trust the process, and over time you trust it more. Over time you trust it more. Over time you trust it more. It takes
they just
some time.
hit it. Relationship. I hear these topics all the time.
Relationship.
You guys just hit it. I never realized you have to build a relationship with a therapist. I've never heard that.
And think about how many years has shaped who you currently are, that's like experiencing the trauma. So you're gonna need many years to undo it as well.
Dante Hall, man. David Weber is here. We're going to take more calls. 88 men, call up.
Yes.
Men, we need men to call up. This is it, man. Talk to us, fellas. I'm trying to bond with y'all. You know, we hug when I see you in public.
It's necessary, though.
We can do more, though.
We could do more than just hug, man. Let's talk about it. Wait, we got Mike on the line from Arkansas. You got a question, Mike?
Man, I was just going to say that I actually, first, let me say, what all is being said, I can understand a whole bunch of what everybody got to say. But it's just what it is, man. You know, in dealing with stuff with relationships, and to say something about, loving somebody and then dealing with for a period of time the fact that they don't want you, and then it makes you feel the same way about yourself. And then, me personally, growing up in the South, growing up in a church, and Heather B, you can excuse me for a minute for saying this, but it's just I have to fight with God versus paying all that money to go and see the psychiatrist, even though the whole deal is to let him understand it from his point of view to give you direction. But it's just, man, it is a struggle, and it's just I've been struggling. And I mean, I just happen to be hearing this today. Yeah. Just thought I'd call, you know what I'm saying?
No, we love that, Mike. Mike, so you want to know how to deal with someone that doesn't want you?
Right, because of the fact that I've been going through, like, chasing them for a long time whenever we have been together, had issues, but it's just like.
I know, I get it. Let's let them jump in, because
rejection.
I want to know about that when you're dealing with somebody that doesn't want you.
Unrequited
and you're not
love.
married?
And you're not married.
Lee, what do you know the answer to that question already? You already know the
What
answer
do you
to that
mean?
question. You know the answer to the question. To your own question, you've answered your own question. The person don't want me. I ain't married to this person. I'm out. Right? It goes back to it goes back to the boundaries piece, right? If you don't want me,
right.
What do I look like standing around if you don't want me?
Right, and it's just I don't know. I guess the whole idea how I was always wanting something, to be better.
But did you hear what he just said, Mike?
Yes, I did.
What do you think about what he just said?
Well, I mean, I'm coming to full circle with it. I'm coming to fruition with it now.
Okay.
After all this time, and even as of today, but like I don't know. Like I said, I think deep myself to where, little stuff finally to give me the sign after all this time. Yeah. Whenever I've still been around all this time, you know what I'm saying? It just I know it takes a minute for y'all to get a whole understanding. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing the whole story, but that's the sort of it.
No, that's good, man. But that's a great beginning. So today's conversations, we're not going to solve every problem in these conversations. We're just going to bring them to surface, Mike. And I want to give David's information out, because y'all could continue these conversations with David Weber beyond the conversation. This is the prelude. So follow him at David Weber _LPC. Mike, you a citizen.
A Sway in the morning.
We're going to come back. David Weber here. We got a lot of people on the phone lines. And then we got Charlie Wilson coming up after that. Mental Health Monday with David Weber.
Yes.
Oh, I like that.
You like it,
That got a ring to it.
Has a ring to it. Hello.
Shade 45. 845. Sway in the morning. Have the beat Tracy G.
Yeah.
Mental Health Mondays.
With David Weber.
With David Weber. Our therapist,
You're welcome, Sway.
Thank you, Heather, has a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling from Northwestern University, a very prestigious campus. He has his own way of doing therapy. He believes in a holistic approach to wellness. It's the catalyst for Oh My Therapist, which is his private practice located in Atlanta. And I want to give out this information, citizens. It's just a starter to a longer conversation that we all need to be having. And it doesn't have to always be on the platform. If you want to have direct communication with David Weber, maybe you could bring him into your life.
Yes.
Because this is a lifestyle choice. David Weber _LPC. David Weber _LPC. And we have not mentioned this. He's also the younger brother of Chris Weber. That's right, Chris Weber, the NBA god himself. All right, come on, Chris is my guy. So,
C, what up, C?
Chris Weber, man. So we're gonna take more calls. I want to get quick questions, and decent responses. Cameron's on the line from PA. Cameron, what's your question?
What up, Cam?
Hey, Cam.
Hey, good morning, Sway. Good morning, Tracy. Good morning, Heather. Hey, my question is, for most men, we tend to suffer in silence because we're not comfortable with being vulnerable to women, and it's more because we don't want to appear soft. How do you approach that?
You identifying it, which is what you just did. So that's excellent. Identifying, I want to be vulnerable. I want to express myself. And that's the hardest part, is even having those type of internal conversations. Being honest with yourself about yourself is one of the hardest things you can do, and you just did that. Okay. And so it's just one step at a time, like with anything, right? You just practice, you try. You know what? Today I'm gonna try to be more vulnerable with my girl. I'm gonna tell her something about myself I never told her before. I'm gonna see what her response is. Hopefully she's receptive. Hopefully she doesn't judge you or those types of things. And if you have a good response, then you try it again and you try it again. We call those corrective emotional experiences in therapy.
Corrective emotional experiences.
Corrective emotional
and then Cameron, too, if you want to further this discussion, hit him up directly.
Yeah, hit me up directly, David Weber _LPC, or you can call me, 404-919-4777. I do return phone calls and try to get you the resources that you need. I return them myself. So hit me up. Leave a voice message, please. Just don't call and just leave a voice message, and I'll get back to you. I promise you.
Hey, Cameron, you a citizen, brother.
Sway in the morning.
Pete from Boston. What up, Pete? It's been a minute.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, what's up, man? First of all, I want to thank y'all because I've been listening to y'all for a long time. Heather B, Sway, Tracy.
What up?
Mad love for all of y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm calling. You're welcome. I had 18 years clean, sobriety. Used to shoot dope back in the days, 80s, 90s. Fell off about a year ago. I understand that you don't lose the clean time. But in that process of being clean, I was a social worker for a little while. Decided to change careers about 10 years ago. Now I drive trucks. Now I'm getting back on track slowly but surely. But it has been a mission. You know, like the 18 years clean time. That's a long time.
Yeah.
And even though, like I said, even though I know like the fundamentals of when I was a social worker, but it's different when you're on the other side of the track. Like I said, I'm trying to get back on track. I am doing the one-on-one thing. I do agree with therapy. I do agree with being vulnerable. But it's just, at times I just find myself still having issues. Living life on life terms has never been easy. But I'm just trying to hear a different perspective. Because I'm just trying to broaden. I'm literally starting this new. Even though I had the 18 years clean before, but I'm looking at it if I'm just starting from scratch. I'm learning how to crawl so I can learn how to walk again and eventually run.
Wow.
Hey,
So
Pete.
I just yes.
First of all, I want to thank you, Pete. I don't want to cut you off. I just want to thank you first and foremost for even making the effort to dial the number.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're right, Sway. You're right.
To tell your story, to sit on hold while we came to you, because I think that's the part of your process of getting back on track. You exposing it to the world, and by doing that, it's almost you making a commitment to yourself.
Yes.
I'm gonna let the therapist talk to you, David Weber.
Yeah. So 18 years, man. You should be proud of yourself.
18 years.
That's a
18
long time.
years.
I am.
That's a long
I
time.
don't kick myself in the ass for it, but it was a long time. I accomplished a lot in those 18 years of sobriety. And like I said, I'm learning to crawl, I'm learning to walk so I can eventually run again.
Let me, and I'm going to cut you off. Let me say this real quick. Self-grace is extraordinarily important. We're great at giving grace to other people, horrible at having grace for ourselves. What does that mean? That means when I mess up, it's okay. I can get back up. I try again. I start again. In the same way, if someone else messed up, you say, you know what? That's cool, brother. It's all right. You can start over again. So there's times in life you're going to try something. You're doing really well at it. You may be trying to lose weight. You may be trying to, whatever it may be, and you fall off the wagon. You get back on. But practicing self-grace is extraordinarily important. That means I have grace for other people, which is great. But if I don't have that grace for myself, that's wrong. The same grace I give to other people, I got to have for myself.
Self-forgiveness there, Pete. All right, and I really want you, Pete. You're a person I really want you to reach out to him directly. I don't know if you. I
already wrote his information down. Trust me. Like I said, I'm keeping all doors open, and I'm just having a different outlook on things now because I ain't trying to find myself where I found myself back in the 80s and 90s. I'm too old for that shit, man.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Yeah, come on,
That's
Pete.
real.
Let's live our best lives,
on.
Pete. Okay, we appreciate you sharing, brother.
You a king, Pete.
You know you family. You a super citizen, Pete.
A Sway in the morning.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna do.
Wow.
We got a lot of people on the line, but we got Charlie Wilson formerly of the Gap Band coming up.
Yep. Just got his, star.
Got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But Walter in Virginia, who runs a mental health group, Daniel in Jersey, whose wife passed, John in Virginia, he's a behavior analyst, Blair in Iowa. He wants to talk about relationships. Tony in Queens, he wants to find outlets to release the energy. Eric in Oklahoma, mother was on crack. Bobby in Kansas City, been doing therapy for a while. Will in Charlotte, had has a question about brotherhood, the whole nine. We were going to go into something about siblings, but I say maybe we could put the question on air and people can answer it on your Instagram.
Cool.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to talk about siblings too. Now, I kind of want to end the conversation with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you mentioned earlier that, my brother's is Chris Webber, and growing up in his shadow was terrible. Mm-hmm. It was great up until a point, right? Like, when you're 11 years old, it's fantastic, right? When he's playing with the Fab Five, it's wonderful, right? And then life gets real. And then you realize, wait, I'm not on that same path. I'm not going to go to the NBA, right? I'm on that same path that he's on. And so I ended up playing 4 games in the NBA, 4 or 5 games.
Oh, okay.
And so I, quote, made it, but I didn't make it, right? And so in that sense, I wasn't good enough. And so many of us have stories in our head, right? Like, I'm not good enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not small enough, I'm not successful enough, I don't have enough money. And that story ends up carrying a bunch of weight on us. Mm-hmm. And so we sort of walk through our lives with that story, and that's who I am. So I was the person who was almost good enough. That's how I saw myself, almost. I was almost good. I made a record with Nas. I'm on Nas's Lost Tapes 2 album. Yeah. My name is David Raniere on that album, right? So, again, it was almost like I'm good but not quite, right? Mm-hmm. That's how I felt about myself. And so there's many of you out there listening right now who you feel like you're not enough. There's something about you that you feel like you're just not quite there. You have things about yourself that you want to change. You don't know how to change, and you wish you were different. But this is what I'll say to you, that you, in and of yourself, are dope right now, right this minute, as is. What does as is mean? As is means I don't have to change nothing, and I'm still dope right now. Mm-hmm. That if I make it to the NBA, great. If I don't make it to the NBA, that's fine too. Like, I'm still good enough right now. And until you understand that, you'll always be chasing something. Mm-hmm. Then I'm enough. Like, once I get here, then I'm enough. Once I make it to the NBA, then I'm enough. But the truth of the matter is, you're enough right now. Yeah. Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
It doesn't take, it's not when, it's not if, it's right now. And once you believe that in your soul, it changes your whole life. And I believe it now in my soul.
There you go. David Webber, man. Thank you for sharing your truth, brother. Wow. Thank you, man. Thank you for sharing your truth. This is David Webber. That was our first
Mental Health Mondays. You coming back next month, right, David?
Let's do it.
We're going to do it at the top of every month.
Yes.
All right. David Webber could be reached at David Webber, WEBBER _LPC. This was great.
He gave out a phone number as well.
Yes, phone number 404-919-4777. Please leave a voice message.
Say it again, slow.
404-919-4777.
One more time.
404-919-4777.
Thank you, brother.